It's a chilly morning from this part of the world. Good morning and compliments of the season to every single one of you in the house here. Well, if you can see my screen right now and you can hear my voice, I would like you to type in hi in the comment section so that I can have the leverage of knowing that we are all on the same page here before we kickstart the session. Good morning. Okay, what's happening right here in the comment section? Okay, I can see KNL12. Good morning to you. Hey, Carrie, good morning. How are you doing today? Oh, it's freezing cold. Yeah, I understand. It's winter, right? It's Amatan here, and we are really feeling very, very cold this morning. So I'm really stocked up. Okay, good morning, to Warren and Daniel. Good morning to you. 414, good morning. How are you doing today? Should we take this as a confirmation that we are good to go? Let's see if we have more comments here. 796, good morning. Okay. Okay, so let's take this as a confirmation that we are good to go. I'm excited to welcome you to yet another promising session on the Extra and Speed Live. My name is Sheriff Daramola, and as usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey, at least in the next 1 hour, where we shall be evaluating the financial market using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today? Well, as usual, the first thing we are going to be doing this morning is to go through all the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. We are going to be looking at how well those pairs have been doing, and then if there are any updates, advices, or how we want to be adding more position to our existing trade, I will be sharing them during the course of the session. So my advice is that you remain patient and stay true to the end of the session so that you don't miss out on any of the ideas we shall be deliberating during the live session today. And also, before we go into the chat, we are going to be looking at the economic calendar, though we really don't have any major macroeconomic event that will be driving price action for today. But we have a medium impact event in the form of the initial job claims, which is coming up in 2 hours, 30 minutes from now. And the previous job claim was around 216,000, though we really don't have a consensus at this particular point in time. So we are going to be participants in this market will be having a close up look at this event. So we shall be anticipating this event, and let's see how this event will be driving price movement. And we shall be seeing the anticipation of this event in the on the chart as price action. So we shall be going back into the charts right now. So let's see how participants in this market will be anticipating this event, at least on all the major pairs I've been monitoring since the beginning of this week. So right now we shall be diving right back into the charts, and the first commodity we are going to be looking at as usual is the US oil. And on the US oil, if you look at what we have here currently, we are very profitable at this particular point in time. And let's quickly run through what our expectation was during the course of the live session yesterday. So during the live session yesterday, we had a sell position running here as price action was around the $79 level during our live session yesterday. And I gave kudos to those who took advantage of this opportunity at the breakdown of the $79.50 level. Now, remember at the beginning of this week, we were able to identify a channel where price was caught within a $1 channel here, that is between the $80.50 level here and the support level at around the $79.50 area. And one thing I stated here yesterday was the fact that we have been noticing buy pressure right below the $79.50 level. And we all know that whenever we have a flat channel like this, we want to remain patient to look out for a signal to join the momentum and either a breakout of that structure to the upside or a breakdown of that structure to the downside. And actually, the latter is what happened here as we saw price break down the $79.50 level. In fact, it was not only the $79.50 that was broken, it broke the demand zone and as well broke the bullish trend line that has been holding bullish momentum since the beginning of this month. So we saw the breakdown of both the structure, which was a good signal that we might be having a bearish momentum. So we took advantage of that move during the early hours of yesterday. And I told those who missed out on this opportunity that we shall be patient and wait out for price action to come back, do a retest of both the structure here at the bullish trend line and at the same time the $79.50 level, where we shall be looking out for selling pressure on our lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. And this is exactly what happened here yesterday. We saw price come back, do some couple of retests of the $79.50 level area, which also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line. And at the same time, I was able to identify a descending channel, and you can see it respected the resistant level of the descending channel to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So if you are taking advantage of this move yesterday, well done. Congratulations to you guys for being on standby to catch that move as it finally happened. So currently, if you are taking only one position right now, you will currently be running with over 200 pips in profit right now. So well done guys for being on standby to catch that move. However, during the later part of the New York session yesterday, we also had another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. Remember, we had a structure here which was holding buy pressure at one point in time yesterday before the breakdown of that structure happens. And you know what we always look out for here in this community? Whenever we have a breakdown of the structure, we should be looking out for a test of that structure to incite another wave or add more position to our existing trade. And this is exactly what happened here. Price action came back to retest the structure at the $78.65 and did a couple of rejection of that level. In fact, we had a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure, giving us a good signal to join the decline to the downside. And if you are also taking advantage of that move right around the $78.65 level, you would currently be running with about how many pips right now? Over 130 pips in profit right now. You are taking two positions on the US oil so far, you will currently be running with over 300 pips in profit. So well done for those who are taking advantage of that move. So now that we are going into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? And for those who had missed out on these opportunities that we took advantage of in the last 4 hours, well, let's see if the market is going to be presenting us with another opportunity to join that decline to the downside, or are we going to probably be having a reversal pattern transition into another wave of bullish momentum today? Well, that questions will be answered if we take a look at the daily time frame. So we want to be going up into the daily time frame where we are going to be having an holistic view of what is really going on and if structure we are in on the lower time frame supports what we're seeing on the daily time frame. So the first thing we saw here on the daily time frame at the beginning of the week was the fact that price action has been on a bearish momentum since the month of June. And as a result of this, we had this bearish trend line figured out after connecting the series of lower highs. And one thing we saw here when we zoom into what has been happening here in the last couple of months, that is since the month of October, we saw how price has been caught within a consolidation phase, emphasizing the indecision in this market as we saw the resistance point right around the $93.50 level, which also shares a confluence at bearish trend line. Remember, we identified earlier. And then we also have the support level of this channel at around the $78 area, or that give us a of what's the decision in that market particular point in time. And whenever we have an indecision phase like this, that is a channel, a flat channel, we always wait out for a breakout or a breakdown of the channel to give us a signal of where price might be going. And what we saw here at the beginning of this month was quite interesting, as we saw selling momentum reject the $83 level, leading to a final breakdown of that demand zone area, which has been holding by pressure for quite some time. And with that signal like this, we should be thinking that, okay, fine, since we had the breakdown of that demand zone, and that's a bearish signal, there is a likelihood that price might come back to do some retest of that structure appear to have happened in the last couple of weeks here. So we saw how the bullish momentum came back into doing a retest of that structure. In fact, we have somewhere around the $80 level where we have been witnessing selling pressure since the since Friday last week, and it appears that the selling pressure getting stronger by the day. And one thing we said earlier is that if we see a breakdown of a structure, we should be expecting that one point in time, price is likely going to come back to a retest of structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum, which appears to be the case at this particular point in time. So right now we have the situation we are at around the $78 level right now, where price is currently oscillating now. And what we want to be doing, like I told you on the 1 hour time frame, to move our stop loss accordingly, walking to profit. And let's see how price action will be relating to the $78 level here to decide what our next line of action will be. Now, what we are going to be looking out for here is either price breaks down that $78 level to further give us confirmation that sellers are still very strong in this market, selling pressure right below the structure. On our lower time frame, then we'll be comfortable adding more position to our sell trade. However, if buy pressure continues right above the $78 level here, then we might likely be seeing a situation where a breakout of the $80 level could happen, leading out of that bearish trend line we identified earlier to bring price back into the $85 level. Remember, that level was broken during the course of last month trading session here, and we should be expecting that if a breakout of the 80 level happens here, then we might be a situation where price might likely come back a retest of the structure that was broken last month. So these are the scenarios we want to be looking forward to today. And in order to have a better perspective into what is really going on in this market, we would like to scale down to a much lower time frame, like the 1 hour time frame, where we are going to be looking at how participants in the market currently reacting to the $78 level in order to make a decision for today. So in this regard, we shall be scaling right back down into the 1 hour time frame where we were, and then let's see how price action is playing out around this area. So on the daily time frame, we identify the fact that price action has been oscillating around the $78 level here. So this is the $78 area. And so we already have the breakdown of the $78 level around this level. Should we should we identify the structure for the sake of clarity? Okay, let's do some identification and give a peculiar color for us to differentiate it from the current structures that we have here. So I would like to give gold color, and then we sell it $78 level for the sake of clarity. So we have the $78 level. Let's gold color here. Well, so standing out, remember. And what we had here during the early hours of today was a breakdown of the $77.60 here, which is a sign for me that might be having further bearish momentum to the downside. But before we conclude that we should be having a bearish momentum downside, I want us to at what has been happening here since the beginning of this week. Have we been bullish move, bearish move? Well, if we look at the structure fairly well, we will notice that price action has been finding lower lows and lower highs since the beginning of the week. And in fact, it has transitioned into a descending channel, a very good channel that supports a bearish momentum. So that's the resistance point of that channel. As you can see, the lower lows The lower highs are being connected, forming that resistant level of the descending channel. Then we also have the support level of the descending channel figured out. So with this situation here that we have right now, expecting that this descending channel should be for trading activity going forward. Now we have a retest of that support level of the descending channel where we have started seeing buy pressure come in from this area. So we might likely see a situation where buy pressure might evolve into a retracement of the previous impulse leg, coming back into either the $78.65 level or the resistant level of that descending channel to incite another wave of bearish move. That is one possibility that could happen today. So we want to position ourselves very well to be able to catch that move happens. And we also saw the breakdown of the $77.65 level here. Remember, the structure was a strong demand zone during the course of the new session here. Where participant bought the US oil or it was finally broken here today. And one thing I will be saying at this point, since the breakdown of the $77.60 level has happened right now, we might want to be looking out for selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame for the give us a confirmation that the sellers are still very strong in the market. But if a breakout of the structure happens, then we might be waiting how price will release 78 level like another wave to the downside. And if that does not happen and price breaks out, I'll be looking at the resistance of the descent channel or the $78.65 area, looking out for selling opportunities to join the decline to the downside. So that is the scenario we shall be looking forward to here to sell the US oil. And one thing we want to take into consideration here also, like that the bullish momentum could happen here. Remember, we are on the bullish month. Let me show you um, identified here on our time frame. But we had this on the 4 hours time frame where we actually had a descending channel. We started in the month of October, and then during the course of last week's session, we saw the breakout of the descending channel on the 4 hours time frame, sign that buyers are very strong in that point. Then we also had this bullish trend line also guided bullish at level, and we have a breakout of a expect point in time that price might likely come back to out of the as the $80.50. Then we have been with pressure here, leading to the breakdown of that bullish line. It might likely be a retreat phase back into um, retesting the structure that was broken during the course of last week's trading session. So we had the structure broken here, and this is the trend line of that structure, which also shares a confluence with the $74 area where we might be looking forward to another wave of bull momentum um, upside. That is out. That's one way we are going to be looking at. The momentum we are in right now might likely culminate at around the $74 level. Want to be prepared for that long-term haul here. And let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. I just wanted to show you how important the bullish trend is here. So we might likely see a situation where price might go back up again. Remember, we had the breakdown of the trend line here yesterday. And whenever we have a breakdown like this, the price might come back to do it. And the bullish momentum continues in such a way that breaks out of the resistance level of that descent channel we have here of this week, and price breaks out of that structure. And if we are looking that seen by pressure right above the structure, might be another bullish momentum. So these are the scenarios we shall be looking forward to on the US oil rather. So we shall be looking out. We still continue to hold on to our sell position. Now that reminds me, we've not talked about how we are going to be locking our profit here. So we have two sell positions running right now, and I will be suggesting that we place our stop loss right now, move our stop loss to somewhere right above the $78 level. Remember that structure we identified on the daily time frame. So we should be placing it right above that structure. Let's give some room for price action to breed, and let's see if price is going to break out of the structure, or we are going to be seeing selling pressure coming one more time, giving us another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So this is how we are going to be looking at the US oil for today. If you have any questions regarding what I just explained so far, feel free to drop your inquiries right in the comment section of this video. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the charts and see if there are any questions whatsoever before I move on to the next option. So what do we have here? I can see Craig here. Craig, good morning to you, and you're welcome as well. All right. Patrick 90 is asking for gold. Well, we are going to be doing gold. Gold is one of the instruments we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week, and definitely we are going to be looking at viewing and looking at how this uh, instrument has been doing so far since the beginning of the week. So I advise you to stay tuned in so that you don't miss out on that session. Then we have Gulumba here. Good morning, Gulumba. Then Phelps, so handsome. All right. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around. Love Mimi. Good morning to you as well. So, in the absence of no questions, I guess we just move on to the next option. So the next option we are going to be looking at today is the US tech. And in fact, the US tech is quite profitable for us yesterday. And in fact, since the beginning of the week, we have been enjoying this bearish momentum all the way to the downside here. So this is where we started the week. At the beginning of the week, we identified a simple flat channel between the $11,090 level here, where we said we want to remain patient to wait out for either a breakout or a breakdown of this channel to give us a signal of where price will be going for this week. And in fact, we saw price break down the support level of the channel at the $11,015 level to give us that confirmation to join that decline to the downside, and we rolled the price action all the way down. And if you are taking it right at the beginning of the week, you will currently be running with, let's see how many pips is that from this point. You will currently be running with over 250 pips in profit right now, which is not bad after all. Now, we also had some situation running during the course of the week here where we saw our price was caught within a channel after testing the $10,800 level. So we saw that we have been witnessing buy pressure right around this area, which made us to move our stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit right above the $10,900 level. And since then, price is yet to take us out of our position. So we saw this channel here yesterday, which we identified between $10,850 level and the 10,800, which is and zone that we identified here. And we said we shall be waiting out for breakdown of that demand or the opportunity to sell the US tech. And in fact, we saw the situation happen here during the New York session yesterday. Though we had a little breakout of the 10,850, but the breakout didn't hold as selling pressure continued from that level, leading to a final breakdown of the 10,008 level here during the New York session yesterday to give us another opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. And if you are taking advantage of that opposition right there yesterday, you will currently be running with over 65 pips profit. You are taking beginning of the week, yes, another profit added to your kitty on the US tech. So now with the situation we have here right now, what is going to be our plans for today? And for those who had missed out on these opportunities that we had since the beginning of the week, well, we shall be looking at how we could take advantage of any trading opportunity for today, or if possible, we have a situation where we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. I will let you know during the course of this session. So now going into the New York session today, we are going to be having a new setup that we shall be looking to using to guide our trading activity for today, and that is the bearish trend line I was able to identify here. So you can see the bearish trend line. The red dashed line on your screen is the bearish trend line we shall be using to guide selling opportunities or buying opportunities for today. So after connecting the series of lower highs here, so you can see what has been happening here since the beginning of this week. Price has consistently and uniformly found lower heights. So I was able to connect the series of lower highs here to give us that resulting bearish trend line. And as you can see right now, price appears to be heading the bearish trend line here. I'll remain here to look out for how price action going to be relating to that structure in order to make a decision for today. Though we had buy pressure coming here, yes, in the last 12 hours now, and I actually took advantage of one buy opportunity here, a counter trend opportunity. While I moved my stop loss to somewhere around the $10,800 level. And for those who are still at the beginning of the week, well, I'm advising you stop loss somewhere right above the structure so that we can give room for price action to breathe here. And let's see what is going to be happening in the next couple of hours. So what we are going to be doing right now, I told you I've entered a buy position here after citing the buy pressure we had here. So I've moved my stop loss to the buy position right around the $10,715 level. And I want to be waiting to see how price action is going to be relating to the bearish trend here. So going into the New York session, have one of our parameters that trading activity, and the second one is the $10,800 level. And why am I choosing the 10,800? Remember, since the later part of last week, 10,000 has been a strong buying niche for participants in the market. And in fact, during the course of this week, we saw that level also was holding by pressure, or we finally witnessed breakdown of that structure here. And whenever we have a breakdown of a structure like this, we expect that one point in time price is likely going to come back to a retest of that structure with selling pressure around that area to give us an opportunity to join the second wave of bearish momentum. So as we head into the New York session and the sight of this bullish here, I'm of the opinion price action is actually going through a retracement of the previous impulse leg here. Probably it's going for as far as the 10,800 before we start seeing pressure around the join that decline to the downside. Remember, our TP target still remains around the $10,600 level, somewhere around here. Our TP target still around level here. So let's see what happens during the New York session today. So we shall be looking at how price is going to react to the structure, the trend line here, and at the same time the 10,000 level. So if I will simulate what could likely happen here, we might likely situation where price comes into the trend line, selling pressure breaks down this temporary bullish line here, slight and bearish momentum. That is one scenario. Then we could price break out of the trend line here by pressure, retest of price comes to the 10,800. Sell pressure resumes here, then it could incite another wave of bearish momentum. So these are the things we are going to be looking at on the US tech. And for those who are part of this buy position here, kindly move your stop loss to break even. Let's wait out to see breakout of the structure. If a breakout of the structure happens, just accordingly lock in some profit and wait out to see how price action will react to the 10,800. And if price breaks out of the 10,000, remember this level has been a strong buy zone by pressure. Yeah? If a breakout of the 10,000 happens here, followed by buying pressure above the structure, might likely turn out to another of upside. So these are the scenarios we want to be looking out for. Let's prepare ourselves, position ourselves in such a way that we can catch that move when it happens. And I hope you screenshot my screen so that you can use it as a reference point whenever you are about to make your individual decision on the US tech. So if you have any questions or you need me to shed more light on one particular area I just explained so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section as usual. Then I will be moving on to the next pair here for the sake of time so that I will be able to cover all the um, instrument we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. So the situation we have here on the USDJPY is quite interesting though. Since the beginning of the week, we had this position running right above the 133.150, where we took advantage of some buy opportunity here at the beginning of the week, and we rode the move all the way up to the 134.300 Japanese yen level, which gave us about how many pips in profit? Over 830 pips in profit before we started witnessing that bearish momentum that started during the early hours of today. Then we also had another position added to our exit rate right here on Wednesday, saw a breakout retest of the 133.600 level, giving us another leverage to add more position to the trade. And I told you here yesterday that we shall be looking out for breakout of the 134.3 level to give us an opportunity to join that rally to the upside. But one thing that happened here is the fact that we saw the breakout actually. I shared this on my public platform and I said if breakout happens, we buy. Then if bullish momentum upside, we move stop loss, lock in some profit here, and let's wait out for price to play out. But unfortunately, we are taken out of that position at the 134.3 on. In fact, all positions were taken out at the 134.3. And if we look how many position we have, about 100 second position, about the pips thereabout, and the third position gave us a break around 100, and not bad anyway. And at this point in time, the momentum has taken over this market, and we want to wait out to see how this is going to play out for this week. Now, before I go into the details here, I would like to share with you what is happening on the daily time frame so that we can have a better perspective of what is really going on in the market. Now, we will be coming back to this. So let's quickly run through the daily time frame structure we have on the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, this is up here time frame at the big week. That price action has been on a long-term bullish momentum here since the beginning of the year, and as a result of this, we're able to connect the higher lows. That's a bullish trend line that has been guiding that bullish momentum upside. Now, things interesting August, where we saw reversal patterns right on. Very good, join a possible trend continuing upside. Whenever we have a reversal pattern like this, the next thing we identify neckline, that reversal pattern guide our activity, and as a result of as the reversal pattern are looking for, and the breakout of the reversal pattern happened here first, actually took about 3 to 4 months. Price action came back to that neckline area that was at the beginning of this month. So we had the breakdown of that bullish line here. We had the breakdown of the last month for the break, and then that led to 5. For the first few weeks, our price was caught with the 1 and the neckline at the 1.5. So not for to join a bullish momentum. Unfortunately, that did not happen as we saw a huge bearish move. Actually, though we were able to join the second wave of that bearish move to the downside. And one thing you would observe here following the breakdown of the 135 level, we saw that price back into the 130. It rated that structure, accumulated some buy pressure, and then price action continued upside from there. And if we go to the past year, how important the past, in fact, if the month of August here, or how that buy pressure, that if we go further into that level, holding buy pressure. And now we saw the same thing happen here. So that is why we took advantage of the buy opportunity we had at the beginning of the week, where we were looking forward to see how price action is going to be relating at a 5 Japanese level, a level which was broken last week. And remember, that level also was a strong buying niche participants after the breakout of the next year, the month of August. So what we are looking forward to right now is to see if price will going to continue to the upside, that is go into the 135 level, where we are going to be looking out for a possible sell pressure right below the structure in our lower time frame, cite another wave of bearish momentum to the downside, or we are going to be having a breakout that will incite a back into the 145 structure here, a structure which was broken because of last month's trading session. Might likely see come back that structure time. So this is what we are going to, and as a result of want to have a better perspective. Yeah, so in that regard, I'll be scaling down to the 1 hour time. Look out to for our price action actually um oscillating at this present moment to decipher we are really going to get as far as 35, or we might be having citation of a bearish move at this point that will likely break down the 131, cite another wave of bearish momentum. So that is one scenario that we are going to be looking out for here on the USDJPY. So in this regard, we want to be scaling down to the 1 hour time frame, where we are going to be making our decision for today. So now we are right on the 1 hour time frame right now, and following the I think I should show 4 hours time what we were able to identify. I would structures. Okay, so our time, 4 hours time. I will just dive in, and that is bearish impulse leg tested by pressure. And one thing I was able to do here was to identify a trend continuation pattern in the form of a rising wedge here. So we had price breakout of the rising wedge to the upside. From a technical standpoint, price break right at above the structure, and since have been with, and as a result that we had this guide our since the beginning of this week. As you can see, the trend line has been holding by pressure since the last week. So we continue to use that bullish trend line to guide our trading activities for this week. And one thing we are going to be looking forward to here, you can see what we have right now. Price is right along that bullish trend line, where we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around that area in the last 12 hours. Because there is an decision in this market. So there are two possibilities that could likely happen during the New York session today. And the first one is a breakdown of that trend line. Also shares a confluence with the 133.6 level, where we took advantage of some buy opportunity yesterday, and followed by selling pressure below that structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. That is a possibility we should not ignore for today. But if instead we start seeing buy pressure right above the trend line, then we might likely be another wave of bullish momentum. So we want to be seeing what is really going on here around the 133 point spread to make a decision. For that regard, we shall be scaling back down to the time frame. Here we are on the cipher what is really following the impulsive bearish impulse 34, currently about 25 pips in profit. So I've moved my stop loss to break because I'm not sure the moment continue. And the reason why I continue what has been happening here hours we that as price test have been witnessing buy pressure coming in from that area. And that level also shows that bullish trend line has been guiding Tuesday last week, and it's a very good sign. The possibility that likely come in here, respecting that bullish trend line one more time to incite another wave of bullish movement. But as a result of the high movement, stop loss to break even protect sudden pullback that might likely happen there. If a on of the 100 already have an outright breakdown of that bullish trend line, now a bearish momentum, and it happens and followed with pressure below the structure on our lower time frame, have no choice than to add more to trade here on the USDJPY. So that is how I'm going to be selling, adding more position. My sell position, a breakdown of the happens. But if the buy pressure above the 133.600 here continues, well, at this point, then we might be with a bullish, and we can only happen. I'll be with immediately we scale pressure right above or around 130 going another way. And if a further break out of the level happens, want to be our egg trade on the USD JPY. So these are my views here on the USD JPY. If you have any questions regarding what I just explained so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. I will be taking the next 10 seconds to read through the chat one more time to see if there are any questions before we move on to the next pair. So I can see Steamroller in the house. My friend, I love you, but I think you need to use some of your profits to get a new microphone. Well, I'm using one of the expensive microphone here. I don't know what is happening on your side. I'm using. Hello, can you? Is it that my microphone is not the quality of the audio is not good? Kindly confirm one more time. Let me know. That will be due to my settings, anyways. It's fine for my monitoring device here. I'm not sure what's happening on your hand, Steamroller. It might be network issues. The breakup from time to time might be to network issue. It might be the network issues, not on my YouTube channel. Everything is good. So the audio quality is very good on my channel. It might be the network issue. It be a network issue. All right, I will look into my settings anyways, and that will be in the next setting. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Steamroller, for that feedback. Let's move on to the next option. The next option we are going to be looking at today is the XAUUSD. That is the gold. And on the gold here, we had some profit at the beginning of the week. Remember, we took advantage of some buy opportunity right above the 1,806 level here. So we had some buy position running here where we took advantage of some trading opportunities there, and we were able to scoop over 1,000 pips. I think about 1,700 pips before we started witnessing that bearish momentum. And during the course of yesterday trading live session, we had this here where price we had a sell position running after price broke down the 1,800 and had running here, and we were at this said that we want to remain sell XAUU. And in that very strange that we were using, and then the retest 1008 level opportunity had more sell trade. And this is exactly what happened here. Price come not in by pressure, even like I told you, that the bearish will be our guide for breakout happens by opportunity. Have been taken out at buy position. And one other thing, and the reason why I'm thinking is, well, first of all, cap region size right above price this of selling are still very, very strong. So have no other as long as price re and if I zoom have a double right below. And one and are still participating for how far high pressure writable back to the happens. At this point, I will drop it the curtain on the X. So, let's quickly do a recap of what we talked about. But before, hey, but it's a right above dollar level and another action also within also share. Now, if panel and the 1,000 where below this I'll be looking out for selling opportunities. Then we went on to talk about the USDJPY. I've been buying the US at close time as downside, downside ever my view here on all the pairs about today's well, and able to simulate all the possible that might likely happen on this pair for on this pairs for. So my advice is that we can buy catch those when they finally happen. One thing, not get too excited. When we cite a breakout of a structure, don't want to get too excited. Want to wait out for further confirmation by scaling right down into a lower, looking out for it support the happen. At that point, can become action price to us. So thank you very much. I really appreciate one of you, and thank you back. I really appreciate. I will work on tomorrow. In that note, I wish you of luck today and do have a evening. Bye bye.